Hey, that last video was really a doozy. Not good at all. Guess I'll have to go back over all that again. I believe we covered the time that I'll cover some of it. I was in Corpus Christi, Texas, and my brother Dwight was working for me, and I had a little discussion with him, and I was a little bit irritated about how long it was taking him to clean the mud panel. That's what they use for joint compound, finishing drywall. Anyway, and I said, either do it my way or the highway, or you gotta do it my way, or either do it my way, or you can't work with me, something like that. Anyway, I don't know what. Well, if I remember right, I went back inside the house, finished to continue on hanging wallpaper or finishing the drywall work, wall preparation. I don't remember exactly what it was. And I'm quite sure that the next thing is that Dwight disappeared. He just walked away. As I understand, he went to Houston and bought a car, drove back to Florida, and it broke down on him. Not too long after this, Dwight was killed on a bicycle around 12 o'clock at night or something of that nature. A beer truck hit him. Dwight and I, before, about a year prior to that, had some good time. Spent a few days together, went out to eat one or two times, and he came over to my apartment, and I visited him over where he was staying in Gainesville, and we had a few good days talking to each other. Spent a little bit of meaningful time together before that in Gainesville. So then I drove to Gainesville for the funeral, stayed at the McWrights. My mom stayed at the McWrights, and back to Texas. And as I'm driving back to Texas, I spied this older black guy, looks like kind of straggly, longer hair, and kind of some alongside the road trucking, and around I get to Milton, and my truck breaks down. I didn't put oil in it. It was low on oil, and it had to be towed to the shop and the engine be built. So I spent a few days there and washed my clothes in the river, and I probably slept on the outside somewhere the first or second day. Then I stayed with my older brother there a couple of days until my truck was ready and finished. After my truck is finished, I continue, and lo and behold, I'm passing by this same black guy walking down the road. He only made about maybe 10 miles progress, 15 miles progress in about five or 6 days. And so I pick him up, and boy, I'm trying to, right, yeah. I pick him up, and we stay at a motel room, the motel night, and he stays in the motel room too. And I'm just hoping that he's going to clean up, but he doesn't shower or anything. Then we continue on. He's going to Houston, Texas, and I'm going to Christie. And we continue on the next day, and I'm wanting a little bit of a nightlife, to go to a lounge, sit down, and listen to some music, and do some people watching, just relax, and maybe flirt with a couple of girls. That's on my mind. So I tell a gentleman that I'm gonna exit off the highway, and that, you know, he might want to get off and catch another ride. So he gets off and continues on his way to Houston. I did not see him along the road, so I guess he got a ride from somebody back to Houston. So I make my way back to Corpus Christi, and at this time, doing very good in my business. Brother had lent me $500 to help with the auto repair. I paid him. I got a nice little Mitsubishi station wagon, and I had my Datsun truck. And I was living in there on Staples, I believe. Let's see here. Might have been called Buccaneer Apartments at that time. On Staples. Okay. I've got to know 3 ladies, girls, in Corpus Christi area. Anna Smith, I think her name was. A girl named Barbara Jernigan, maybe. Her parents' name. And also Rose. Relationships with all the girls, you know, ended amicably. Lots of children. I was only wanting 2 children. She had 1 boy already, and we met at the skating rink. All the, you know, when the kids were at the skating rink, that's where we initially. I got quite attached to her boy. But, she had children. She let me know. I don't remember exactly, but it broke off. The relationship with Rose, I broke that off. And I turned a necklace that I purchased for somebody to the jewelry store. I was just kind of thinking about to turn 22, still single, married since I was 14 years old, really desired to have a family. I thought it was time to get married. I had gotten involved with a girl, and I was disciplined by the congregation for this, and restrictions were put on me. I did not have congregational restrictions were put on me. Okay, not too long after this, one incident. The previous incident before that was about, 6 years. Ever been involved with another lady. Okay, so I was thinking, and you know, Carolyn comes to my mind, Carolyn Wiley, and we had so many troubles in our relationship, very rocky. We never nearby vicinity. It was a very long distance relationship, always 1,000 miles apart. A year and a half or 2 years prior, her dad got my ticket to fly up there, and I went up there to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and spent a week up there. And very, I really had some feelings for Carolyn. It was very. So I went back down to Corpus Christi. Nothing really transpired. To Gainesville, where it would be greater. I wrote the Watchtower Society that they really could use some help in Gainesville, so I thought, well, if I'm going to do anything in the ministry, I'll do it in Gainesville, be closer to my mom, be in a place where I'm needed. So I go to Gainesville. Along as talking to Carolyn a little bit, and well, I have a little crush on the Mac Wright's girl, and she has a crush on me for a little while, but she has another guy too she's interested in there. We went out in service together. I took her for a ride on the motorcycle, which was her dad's motorcycle, once to ride him a little bit. But she liked this other guy. So anyway, nothing transpired. Well, my idea was that Carolyn was going to come down to Gainesville and spend some time growing up, getting away from this, and just a time to stretch her wings a little bit, you know, get an environment, and we would date a little bit and get to know each other on a casual basis, casually. Anyway, her parents, and I guess maybe her, they had different ideas. She wasn't coming down to stay with somebody just to visit or stretch her wings out or something. They were down for a wedding. Yeah, they were coming down for a wedding. So, well, we went down to see my mom in Orlando. We went to Disney World in Orlando, the Orlando area. We got engaged. Something very peculiar happened during one of our dates. Or wait for a table at a nice restaurant. Very big, very strange. It scared me. So I thought about that, and later on, and you know, I talked to one of the brothers about it, and right that I do probably was. Maybe Barry Bettinger, also that I talked to. And I decided, maybe we decided, it was decided, of course, that the engagement would be broken off. Well, I had hell to pay for that. There was some talk about me being disfellowshipped for the engagement, and I don't know, maybe it's because Carolyn and I had together completely with our clothes on, and we were necking a little bit, passionate, kill each other, not much besides that really. I mean, my hands moved a bit, but not much really. Very, clean things. Older were in my apartment. They saw an album cover that I had for the Beach Boys, which showed, or the Beatles, I think it was Beach Boys. It showed a girl in a bikini. That was brought to my attention, I think. That was brought to my attention by somebody, I don't know. Anyway, serious discussion about me, somebody was warning me that I might be disfellowshipped, and it was just a mess. They didn't know what to do about the situation. They liked the kind of treatment I was getting from the congregation. And I just decided to go back to Texas at that time. So I went back to Texas, did work, got a lot of work, got my other vehicle, my station wagon that I talked about. I did this 54-inch vinyl job for a trucking business. Not a fact. I did well on that. Sent my mom $1,900 to help her out. Got my car. Long after that, I called Carolyn up, and we decided to get married. So I used my own money this time to go up to Fort Wayne. I had a Mitsubishi station wagon. Nice, very nice car. And there was a big wedding, and I'm up there a week. Total amount off is about 2.5 or 3 weeks. We go down to New Braunfels, Texas, meet up with friends from Corpus, Terry Sparks and his wife, Tim Sparks and his wife Terry. New Braunfels by San Antonio, the campground there. And that's kind of nice. I'll go down to the apartment in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, I had been chiding Carolyn about her foot was swelling, and she said, well, that happens. She just sits down a lot and doesn't do much, kind of sedentary. I go, strange. Okay. It comes to be that she has a broken body. 3rd grade or something that never got fixed, never got taken care of. Whenever there was a problem, she would just sit around a lot, you know, read, study, or whatever. That's the way they took care of the problem. Wow. I mean, her dad had a regular job, steady job with a steel mill, and I'm sure he had some kind of incident. It wouldn't have cost that much to take it. Anyway, we had her x-rayed, back and bone, and it was taken care of. Her parents paid for it. Also, Carolyn acted very weird and strange. Oh, before I get to that. Anyway, the day after we get married, the very next day after our wedding, you know, I'm going out to buy some fruit at the grocery store. And Carolyn lets me know, I don't care about fruit, I don't care about any of that, you know, and I'm not a vegetarian, you know, I don't care anything about chicken. Oh my word, boy, that hit me right down, it got me. Whoa, just the thoughts in my heart, you know, it's like, that was a doozy. Because, you know, all this time, for the last few years, up in my mind, Carolyn said she really liked the idea of being a vegetarian, and she was, you know, she eats that way too. So, you know, all these other girls, they had no interest in a vegetarian way of life. That she did, and I believed her. So, but she didn't, and that really threw me for a loop. Anyway, in Texas, we're in my apartment. I have the piano in there also. Traded for a job. I did a wall got a piano, really. And Carolyn doesn't really like me playing the piano. I'm also taking a home study course in NRA, something electronics. Not going very well with that. And I got my wallpaper business. There's no work anymore in Corpus Christi, recession, whatever's going on in 1982. No work. So that I had met at the mall that I worked on, and he says I need this. So I go down to McAllen, Texas. Carolyn and I go down to McAllen, Texas. We moved there after we spent a week or two down there. We moved down there to McAllen, Texas. I don't really care for it that much. I mean, yeah, it's okay, but you know, I really don't care for it that much. So I go to work, and anyway, her parents come down, and we go to Brownsville. Parents they help us get an apartment. I mean, not an apartment, a mobile home. You know, I'm looking for an apartment from high to rent an apartment, and they help us purchase a mobile home. They did, a small little mobile home. But not too long after that, there's another little economic crisis, another peso devaluation. The work is, as far as I can tell, no work, you know, and I'm going like, you know, do I really want to stay down in McAllen, Texas? I personally don't want to stay down in McAllen, Texas. She likes it, I don't really care for it. And I'm going like, you know, Beaumont, Texas is a great place. It's closer to her parents up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's closer to my mom in Florida. So I figured that was a good place to go and just make things happen there. So I took off to Beaumont, Texas. You know, we discussed it a little bit, and I took off. Slept in my truck, Toyota truck, my Datsun truck. I got from the semi truck stop where they would fuel up and they get free shower tickets, you know, for fuel. Anyway, I'd wash their windshield, and or I'd buy a shower ticket off from them or whatever. I'd take my shit to work. Got a job working on a motel. Got some extra. Got in with a interior designer and some money. And so Carolyn moves up. You know, I go down to McAllen, Texas, and actually, I'm not even sure if I did go back down to McAllen, Texas. She might have drove all the way up. I don't know. I don't remember. But Carolyn's back up. I mean, Carolyn and us, we're back together. in Beaumont, Texas. It's a little garage apartment that I'm talking to the owner about buying. I'm thinking about turning it into an ice cream parlor. Anyway, I don't know how much time is left on this, so I'm going to stop at this junction right here. That's my one sailboat for sale. My one sail is a 25-foot Hunter. This is Seymour that has this boat over here. Sunset. The sun is setting. Kind of medium, sir. It's a beautiful little place. I've been coming to this area for quite years. Used to have another boat anchored here years ago. That's my